But it's a real pleasure to chat with you from one Joe to another. Well,
Likewise.
I wanted to say, man, right away, I want to kind of actually begin even before starting the interview. I wanted to thank you, man, for bringing I'm a big thrash head, as you can see here.
Yeah, yeah.
So for me, just to hear something like Evil Invaders, man, is already so close to my heart. So I'm saying thank you right off the bat.
Well, thanks for supporting.
Well, you know what it is? I checked out the Shattering Reflection album, and it just blew my face away. I really thought it was great. And I gotta say, I'm really digging the Let Me Kill Meister sideburns that you got going on. That Venom energy that Invaders has, you know, like speed thrash, like everything that you put into it, that even that be more like a B horror movie self-aware music videos that you have. I'm really digging that whole combination of elements. It's really nostalgic.
Thanks, dude.
And was it always for you guys kind of that mission from the very beginning to kind of go into that style, or is just kind of at the very beginnings it was something different?
We just jammed and it just turned out to sound like this. I mean, it just got better through the years, you know. But of course, we're very passionate about all these old school bands, you know. And when I started out with this band, I actually wanted to play like heavy metal, Black Sabbath style, but then we couldn't find a singer. So we just sped things up and I started screaming and it turned into this, you know.
That's usually the best way, right? Happy accidents.
Yeah.
Is there something special for you, like from that 80s metal, 80s thrash? Because you guys play a lot of thrash, dude. What is the most special thing for you about that era of music? Is if there is anything special, or maybe you're more of a new school guy?
Just the raw energy from the old bands, you know. Like I love the part where heavy metal bands started playing heavier and turned into thrash, you know. Like the first Overkill records aren't really thrash, but they're not heavy metal either, you know. It's like they have this gray zone, you know, and I love that part. Like bands like Metal Church and stuff, they're in between those two, you know. I mean, they're heavy metal, but they have fast shit too, and it's cool to have this, you know, where the scale is just in balance, you know, like. Well, because as soon as it's pure thrash, it kind of gets a lot of the same in a while, especially with the new school bands. I think it's often just one tempo all the way, or like you have two tempos to choose from. Either you go tuka tuka tuka, or you go like tufta tuta tufta, and it's just those two. And with the older bands, like in like, as I said, Overkill, you hear a lot of Iron Maiden in there, you know.
Yeah. Well, he was a huge fan of Iron Maiden, right? He even tried to sing in the beginning. He realized, oh shit, I can't sing like Bruce Dickinson, so I gotta do something different.
They even stole their font, you know.
yeah, man. And you know, you funny thing that you say that about that transitional period with like Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin. People, many of them consider them heavy, like the beginnings of heavy metal, right? AC/DC. I'm with you. I love this being able to cross over from one to the other, not really being restricted by just classic thrash riffs. And can you recall kind of what made you even pick up a guitar in the first place? Like who or what influenced you?
As soon as I was listening to metal music, it was like 7 years old, and I listened to metal, and from there it was like, this is fucking cool, you know. And I started then with my cousin, like following like acoustic guitar lessons, because I was small and you had to start with acoustic, you know. It was boring as hell, you know, jamming the chords, and I was like, oh fuck, I don't want to do this. And I never touched the guitar apart from the lessons, but the lessons were fun because I was with my cousin and we were like laughing our ass off during the lessons. And then I stopped because he was older than me and he was allowed to go get electric guitar lessons and I wasn't. And I was like, if he's not gonna be there, then I'm not going anymore, you know. And then he came to my place and brought his guitar and he's like, oh, look at this, what I learned. And he started playing which song was it? Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be from AC/DC. And I was like, whoa, dude, you can play AC/DC and then teach me. And then we started jamming together in the little shed in the garden, you know. And at a certain point from there on, we were like, oh, we should have a drummer, right, to jam with, you know. And then I just called a friend of mine and said like, hey, your older brother has like a drum kit that he never plays, right? It's like, yeah, you should learn to play the drums. and that was the first lineup of my band. We just jammed and started writing songs. Then we found a bass player, couldn't find a singer, so I started screaming, and it was just that. Then we recorded our demo.
Man, that's just like pure energy. That's what it sounds like. It was just pure young energy of discovering and finding things on your own. That's really cool, man.
Yeah, it was fun.
Because I was introduced by my father. Like I came from Soviet Russia. We didn't even have American music for a very long time. Wow. So it's like it was him picking. It's like, you got to listen to this. Here's Deep Purple. Here's Led Zeppelin. Here's Metallica. Cool. And then my brothers and everything like that. That's really cool, man. And I really loved you covering Fabulous Disaster, because Exodus, it's not just one of my favorite thrash. It's like one of my favorite bands, period. And I love that you played it even faster.
It wasn't on purpose though. It just tends to happen.
Yeah, like it tends to happen. You get in the moment, right? And you start playing faster. Do you have any bands that you just have like absolutely on replay and they're your favorite go-tos?
Motorhead. My favorite bands are like Motorhead, Sabotage, Exodus, Merciful Fate.
You said Sabotage, man.
Yeah, those. Crimson Glory.
Crimson Glory, another great one, man.
Yeah.
And
I'm really into those 80s prog bands, but also the thrash and the just everything that got made back then just was better and more creative or something. I don't know why.
You mentioned something about modern bands, and I do like modern thrash bands, but they do put themselves in a box, I think, that they can't climb out of sometimes.
Yeah.
And they limit themselves in music, where I think even with your progression of your albums, you kind of see you spreading your wings a little bit more each time. Where if maybe perhaps in the beginning it was a little bit more to one side, and then it's like, hey, now we're gonna have mid-tempo songs, slower songs. We're gonna cross over into what you said, more classic rock territory. Because I think you don't feel comfortable being restrained in those four walls.
No, I don't. I just like to experiment. I always did that. If I listen to our very first song we ever recorded compared to what we do now, there has always been an evolution in what we did.
Yeah.
And I don't want to write the same song over and over again. Why do that if you can have fun and then try new things all the time? There's always going to be our roots in there, or you can still hear the same band as our first EP, but just more elaborate in the directions we go to, but it always starts from the root, but it just grows into something wider, and further. And as we develop more skills, like if I actually learned to sing the last few years, then you can experiment with that too. And I always had like cool vocal lines in my head, and I always had to find my way around them because I couldn't nail them the way I wanted them to sound.
Yeah.
But then we started, like, for example, actually, I learned a lot from covering The Unholy from Sabotage, because we did like a B-side on our Broken Dreams single for that.
I didn't hear it. I got to check it out after this.
Yeah. And because I was like, okay, I'm gonna nail this. It's just gonna take some time. But because we tried it a few years before, and it didn't work out, and I'm like, I'm gonna try it again. And then I found a way to make it sound cool, and from there I was like, okay, if I can do this, then there are a lot of options for our own songs as well. And from there I kind of found my way into the sound where I'm going now with my voice, and the COVID lockdown thing was pure gold for me, basically.
Pure gold, right? And you know what it is?
I had nothing to do I had no plans for work. I had no plans for the band, so I was like, let's just practice. I have time now and experiment. And it doesn't matter if I try something wrong and I fuck up my voice, because I don't have to play a show in the weekend, I can just, doesn't matter. There was no stress. There was just no time pressure.
It's funny that I wore the Overkill shirt, to be honest, because I think there are similarities. I think you're more melodic in your voice than Bobby Blitz is. You have a lot more melody and kind of like harmony in your voice, but there's similarities there. It's like I see 20 different people plus your own unique person in your voice that's developed over the years. So I know what you're talking about. I'm definitely gonna be checking out that cover. And you know what is? I got introduced by Sledgehammer of Justice. It was like people were asking me to react to it, and I never heard of you up to that point.
All right,
Imagine like just this recently, and
cool.
as soon as my brother and I we reacted it to together, I was like, dude, I'm listening to the album like Feed Me Violence. I went directly into it. I was like, I'm not gonna wait. I started listening to that album right away, got into the groove of it. But I gotta say, like Shattering Reflections, in my opinion, it feels like an evolution of the band and maturation of the band in many, many ways in songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask about one specific song. Like I liked the whole album. I thought from beginning to the end, there wasn't a boring second on the album, but
All right.
Forgotten Memories absolutely blew me away. I thought it was the best song on the album if I had to pick one. And I wanted to ask kind of how that whole song came about because like I'm telling you, man, like that song is on repeat for like a week because I just love like that the way it was structured together.
Yeah, there's actually it's a funny story because it almost didn't exist because it just got, I think I heard Max, my guitar player, play it through a Instagram video because he was just like noodling on his guitar, just like a little, oh look, I can do some string skipping, you know. And my girlfriend saw that video and she comes to me, is like, hey, check out what Max wrote. And I'm like, you never showed me that riff. What the fuck? So I text him and I'm like, because we were in lockdown, you know, and I was like, dude, send it over. I got some ideas for that. And then I just started cutting and pasting and made a song structure. And it was just the music instrumental part was done like in super fast because he just wrote it basically pretty fast and it came very natural for him, but it was just like a 1 minute thing that he just played, a progression.
Mm-hmm.
And I just turned it into a song structure. And then I started singing things over it and made like a million versions of vocal lines and made it until it was done, you know.
But yeah,
and then I ended with an idea like, should have something like Child in Time in the end, you know. The screams, you know. I was like, okay, let's do something like
because
that.
it kind of sounds like almost like an epic metal anthem, sort of like when Judas Priest had Blood Red Skies or You Got Another Thing Coming. It gave me those kinds of feels. And one of the things I've always said in a lot of my reactions, I love a lot of new bands. And I think like the technicality of bands has went up to a different level. Like you guys are just playing at a different level. But a lot of bands don't have, for me, they don't have the emotional counterpart. That feeling you get when you first heard some of the Black Sabbath songs. And for me, why I resonated with your music so much is it gave me that feeling. It gave me that epic metal feeling. Like, dude, I remember what it was like hearing that song for the first time. And I think that's why that particular song resonated so much with me.
Yeah, I put a lot of emotion in that one as well. I mean, the lyrics are very, very personal for me as well. So there's a lot of stuff in there from things that I have been thinking about. I mean, it's not just about one thing. It's like really a generalized package of things that were piling up and that just needed to be screamed out, you know.
I love that. And is there anything for you personally on this album that you were just super proud of, like something in particular, or you're just generally proud of the whole album?
I think the whole album is like a whole new level for us. I mean, like in songwriting and what we achieved. But as you said, Forgotten Memories to me personally is one of my favorites as well.
One of your favorites as well.
Because it's loaded with a lot of stuff that I needed to scream out, you know.
And you know what it is for me too? Is like as I'm watching music videos, is I think also a lot of bands kind of lost a lot of flair for their music videos. There's people like Behemoth and other metal bands that really put effort into their music. Electric Callboy, they have really funny music videos. But I saw the recent one, Die For Me, obviously, Sledgehammer from Justice. And you talked about, I think it was on Facebook, it was the first time you scripted a music video before you even start shooting it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to see personally, maybe I am reaching and you can tell me if I'm reaching. I'm starting to see this kind of pattern of you writing a script. You have this visual image in your head. There's a lot of horror movie concepts in there. It's almost like I see you becoming Dave Grohl with the way he did Studio 666, where he did a horror movie. Are you just?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's like, are you just like a visual? You visually have like the concept of all these things, or you write the song first and then it comes to you later?
Oh, it all goes hand in hand. There's no way of saying what comes first, but like because when I write lyrics, I see them happening as well. You know, it's like a movie playing in front of my. It's not the video clip then, but it's all very visual. You know, and I have like I see colors when I write text. It sounds stupid, but
Well, it's
it's
like
the
a
way it
book,
is. You know?
like a book, right? When
Yeah,
you read a book
yeah,
and you have
yeah,
to visualize it.
yeah, exactly.
And
And sometimes I just have a part of a lyric that I write, and I have that thing, and it's just one image, but it's like 3 lines, you know, and then I leave it aside, and the next day I have another image in my head, and I write it down as well. And at one moment, some parts just click, and they may be about entirely different things, but then I write a part in between that connects them in a way that they can be about one thing as well. So when people ask me like what is this song about exactly, often it's a lot of different things and a lot of different ideas that I glue together into one whole thing. And if you study a lyric, like for example Die For Me, it starts off with just some guy saying like, I don't need you anymore, I don't need you anymore in my life, just fucking die because I hate you, you know. But the other part, later it becomes about, it says like, I'm the one who takes the lead, you'll follow and I'll make you bleed. That's more like a cult leader kind of thing, like I'm your fucking god and you're my sheep, you know. The next part, there's more like a torture scene in there, but it all kind of works together, but it's one twisted guy's mind that goes to different places, you know. So it's not just about one thing. And I have that with Forgotten Memories as well, in a different way. Like it's going about topics like dementia, but also like the fight against time, because everybody's getting older and the past is never coming back. And when you start thinking about that, it's kind of scary, you know. Because you're like, oh, remember we used to do that anymore, but oh shit, we used to do that all the time, but we can't do it anymore because the time is gone, you know. This shit changed, you know, like fuck.
I hear you.
Everybody struggles with that at some moment in their life, you know, and then they get their midlife crisis or whatever, you know, but stuff like that, you know. And I think it's always hard for me to say, my songs are not just about one particular thing.
I'm starting to get that even from the conversation, but I got that from the music as well, because you're like the people I mentioned, like the Nergal from Behemoth. It's an example I can use because you guys seem similar in a sense that you think about your art from multiple perspectives. You know, some artists might just think about the music and the way it's going to sound, and then they just leave the director to create a music video. For you, it seems this whole creative process, it seems to me like it's really fun, first of all, for you to do. Yeah, and then at the same time,
frustrating as well sometimes when you can't really, when you don't have the budget to realize it. That's what we had in the past. Like I've been having cool ideas for years, but we have to grow towards a moment where we can find the right people to work with and stuff, you know, and people need to get what you want to do, because in the past we had some issues with that as well. And when you send something out to a guy that's gonna mix your song and then it comes back and you're like, this is not my song anymore. You know? So I tend to never give things out of hand. It's
because this way you can control the quality.
Yeah, definitely. But then you also have to know and everything. And I don't have a lot of experience in movie making, you know, but I just look at movies and try to see how they do things, pay attention to how they use the lights and stuff and which colors to use when, all these stupid things, but it makes a huge difference, you know.
Well, let me tell you, just based on your music video ideas that I've seen, I was already kind of in my questions wrote down, like, are you going to make a feature film? Because I think you have a knack for it. You have a talent for it to create something interesting and visual and something like we want to see at slasher, especially I thought of also Quentin Tarantino when he was doing those slasher films.
Yeah.
I really thought of that right away. And are you a horror movie fan at all? Do you like horror movies or?
Yeah. I like the old stuff. I like the way they play with the lights and stuff, you know, like like these stupid things, like scenes where, for example, they open a treasure chest and the light just comes, you know, like the gold, you know.
Yeah, like in a Pulp Fiction when you open up the briefcase and you just see the light.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
things
awesome.
Like that, you know. I think it's cool to work with those things and to actually do that myself this time in video clips and have a crew that actually knows which lights to use, which camera lenses and stuff, because I don't know anything about the technical aspect of it. But I just say like, I want it to look like this shot here in this movie, but then like that in with these colors, you know, like I try to combine ideas and it's, I mean, I have it in my head, but it's hard to explain it to somebody, you know, from a technical point of view.
I'm just gonna call you the George Lucas of metal videos. Because he was
compliment.
And in your musical career, I mean, up to this point, I see, you know, there's many more roads and hills to conquer. But for you, what has been just the proudest moment for you? It's like, man, I can't believe that this happened.
Basically, nailing the vocal lines in the way that I wanted them to sound on this record. I think when I listened to the final product, so to say, like of this album, like how it sounds and how we made it all work together, I'm very proud of the sound we achieved on this one, you know, and just the songwriting.
And you know what, the album too, they has this kind of production wise where it feels like it's from the 80s, but there's also a modern-esque sound to it. It kind of has the blend of the two, where it's not overproduced, where it sounds mechanical and soulless. Like some bands kind of, they maybe because the producer took it to that direction, they just, it goes too far. I feel like you keep the energy of the album while still sounding very, very modern.
Yeah, we tried to get our sound basically from the natural sound of the speakers and the drums, you know. We don't try to mix in too many triggered sounds and stuff like that. We didn't do much EQing. We just spent a lot of time on the miking and choosing the right amps to record. Same for the drums. Try a different snare, try a different ride. For this song we need to have this ride, for this song we need to have the other one, you know. And also in Deepest Black there are a lot of sounds of like tambourines and like cowbells and stuff, and we just recorded them. We didn't use samples for it. We recorded them in the studio, like shaking the eggs, you know, stupid stuff, but it makes a difference. There's a lot of these vibra slaps in the album as well, like the, you know, like the rattlesnake sound, you know.
You guys are, I mean, it's like the experimentation of the 60s and 70s. You brought that back with a lot of these bands like Queen, all right, and The Who. They were all like very much experimenting with sound, just trying shit and just banging shit against the walls, creating interesting sounds. I think that's the most organic way to do it.
Yeah, because the more samples you use, the more generic you'll start to sound, because other people will have used it as well.
I had such a different,
sound, you know?
I had such a different concept before I started a YouTube channel. I didn't get a chance to, you know, watch a lot of interviews or interview people and talk about. I had such a different concept of how musicians write music before this. And I thought, I'm like, oh, it's going to be like this complex. Sometimes I thought about a very complex formula where it's so much more feeling and so much more experimentation, happy accidents, and just trial and error, what it seems like.
Yeah, exactly.
And with this 5-year hiatus that kind of Evil Invaders had, was it just mainly the pandemic that kind of caused it, or it was other reasons that was like just took a while to create a new album?
We were touring a lot, and we were working in between. Like when we get back from tour, we have to work harder to compensate the lost time on tour. So yeah, we didn't have much time to write music. I mean, we did write some demos at home by ourselves in the meantime, but we didn't really realize that we ended up with 20 demos like when the pandemic started, and we're like, oh shit, we need to start gluing things together and turn these demos into real songs, you know. And then we worked together with Francesco Paoli from Flesh God Apocalypse, which was a very cool experience, well, because it's the first time we worked with a producer.
And
remember, we always did it by ourselves in the past, and for this record I wanted to experiment as well with synths and sound effects to give that a little extra push, you know. Like when you listen to a song like Painkiller, there's a lot going on in the back, like explosions and rocks rumbling and avalanches, you know. All these sounds give the vibe of the song that makes it so bombastic, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you listen to Crimson Glory and Sabotage, there's a lot of ambience under the music as well. but if you don't have it live, you don't really miss it. And that was key for this record as well. I wanted to have a lot of synth effects and little pushes, like when the riff starts.
Yeah.
These little pushes that you feel, but you don't really hear them. And I think that gives you that adrenaline when the song kicks in. It's like, wow, yeah, here we go. But you don't really notice that it's this little push that made the difference, you know.
I 100% would agree with you. It's something that's more subconscious. And I think for example, a lot of people, when they give you recommendations for reactions, they always want you to check out live footage. Mm-hmm. And I'm always studio for sound first, because I just want to hear those little notches that you're talking about that you add to the music that makes a studio record special. And then you can go until see your live footage and see the energy of the crowd and the energy of the band playing. So I 100% agree. I kind of subconsciously notice all those elements, and they do add to that feeling of what Evil Invaders is all about.
Makes it more magical.
Yes, I agree.
Surreal, you know.
Metal magic.
Yeah.
And I saw in another interview, I was watching, to get to know you a little bit better, so I can ask something interesting. But then one thing I heard that was a little funny to me is you talked about how at first, when you first guys began, you didn't take it very seriously. Yeah, that it was just kind of like, oh, fuck it, let's just see what happens. What was the emotional turning point for you where it's like, oh, this is for real?
When we released our very first EP, because we've been playing shows without releasing anything from 2009 till 2013. Mm-hmm. Just as a band, we had our shitty demo tape, you know, and we were just like, yeah, let's just play and drink beers, you know, and just we would play like 6 songs of our own and then covers for the rest, you know. We would do like Saxon and Iron Maiden and all this. I mean, we were really bad in the beginning. It was more about having fun and partying with in a bar where you're playing, you know, because then we could drink for free. You know, and then we were recording our EP and we were like, oh, it's getting pretty cool. Yeah, okay. And we were pushing each other and like, yeah, cool. And we released it, and we noticed that people started singing along because they could actually hear our music at home as well. And we're like, people really like our music, not just the live shows. And then suddenly Napalm Records contacted us, and they're like, hey, we're interested in signing you. All right, let's jump on the train and let's do this shit.
Yeah, it became real. It's like, okay, we gotta step this up to the next level.
like let's say 1 month before Napalm contacted us, we're like, okay, let's do this. And then they contact us. It was like, it's like they heard us say like, we're ready now. You know,
you know what? It feels like Napalm Records, to me personally, as a metal fan, has been really curating a lot of really good artists like yourself and Crypta and all these other albums, and they give you the freedom, at least from my perspective, the way it seems like they're just like, hey guys, just make a good album. Like there's no pressure, just make a good album, we got you.
Yeah,
that's really awesome.
It's cool working with them. Definitely now with a new record, I see that they're really on board with our ideas and stuff. And it's nice to see that. I mean, in the past they've always been a bit like, we'll see where this goes, and they supported us in the way that they needed. And right now it's like they really believe in the music, and they're really like, okay, we're gonna push this. Yeah, it's cool.
Do you guys, I know you're touring around Europe, but will you guys be touring at all like Asia, United States, or?
We did Japan and Russia. We did South America in the past, but we never made it to the US.
Oh man, I would love for you guys to come to New York.
Hopefully soon. So,
well, I'll be amongst the crowd because it is not enough thrash. I mean, I shouldn't even say thrash. It's just like that style of really energetic, kind of powerful music, thrash, speed metal, like everything that you guys do. I think it's really been lacking because I think there's been like a resurgence back in 2007, I believe, or like mid 2000s, and then exactly what you said. It kind of went into this. Of people doing the same thing. Yeah. And now I'm seeing a lot more bands experimenting and doing things like yourself, really going into the different directions. So after Sledgehammer of Justice, you immediately gained a fan, bro.
Thanks, dude.
I would love to mosh in your concerts, perhaps even make it out to Belgium or I know you guys played Vakken, right?
We've been there, yeah.
Yeah,
It was really cool.
that was really
That was
cool.
crazy.
Well, I mean, I'm Russian myself, so I can never end a interview without some kind of a toast. It's just
All right.
if I had vodka, I would toast with vodka. But man, you know what it is? It's like for me to get this feeling that I got listening to Shattering Reflections has become rarer and rarer and rarer as a fan of heavy metal. And to get that feeling for me is something special. So I hope for you guys to have just prosperous, long career and really explode. I want to see New York and I'm going to be there, man.
All right. Thank you very much.
And
That's really cool.
I really appreciate you doing the interview. I really appreciate, I saw you guys posted the reaction on your channel. I really appreciate that as well.
Hey, thanks, dude. It's a two-way street.
All right, man. You enjoy the rest of your day. I don't want to keep you any longer.
All right, man. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Take care, man.
It was nice talking.
Nice talking.